With the year about to conclude, and by the time most of you hear this, it will be 2026, so Happy New Year. And it's time now to give out the awards for the best of and worst of for WWE in the year 2025, which overall I felt was a very poor year for the company in terms of creative. In terms of business, it was their best one ever, but I felt the overall product was very poor, and it was easily by far and away the weakest year since Paul Levesque took over. Now, let's start off at the top. We have Male Superstar of the Year, and this award is judged differently than others because there's more than just one factors. You have to look at charisma, you have to look at promos, you have to look at feuds, match quality, all that comes into effect. But the biggest factor in determining this award is your ability to draw, if you're able to move the needle. And no one did that better this year than John Cena. So he is my pick, Male Superstar of the Year. It's a slam dunk for him this year. He meant so much to business. He is easily, by far and away, he was the most successful wrestler in terms of business this year. No one meant more to business this year than John Cena. He was incredible. A major draw. He got people to tune in whenever he was on TV. The tickets went up when he was there, and all the focus really was on him. He was what most people were talking about for the year, and he was easily the biggest needle mover this year. The John Cena retirement tour was by far and away the most profitable storyline for WWE this year. Also, you can look at some of his highlights. The heel turn, I've talked about this ad nauseum now. The heel turn was great, but the heel run was awful. Also, the promos, the pipe bomb against Punk was good. He also had some great matches. I love the match with Cody, the match with Logan Paul, the match with AJ Styles. Thought that one was his best. And the match with Gunther at the end was still a really good match, even though most people didn't like the finish. And, of course, he retires at Saturday Night's main event. Really a remarkable year. I know it wasn't the best in terms of creative. It was very poor. But whenever you look at the top factor, which is moving the needle, drawing, no one did that better than John Cena. And it was just so overwhelming in that category that he has to win almost by default because no one really came close in terms of him, in terms of business this year. Also, some runners-up I wanted to mention. CM Punk, I thought, had a very good year. If it wasn't for John Cena, he probably would have won this year. I thought Punk did really well. I enjoyed most of his work, and he had some good matches, some really great promos. I'll talk about when my promo award, the best talker of the year, but that's not till later. But I thought Punk would be a runner-up, and a second runner-up, even though I'm not the biggest fan. I really don't like his promos. I was not a fan of the Vision, and I think, to be honest, not to say I'm happy he's hurt or anything, but I think they're actually doing better now that he's out, and that's Seth Rollins. His match quality was really good. He had some good moments. He had a good feud with Punk, even though I thought the feud dragged on a bit. Not the biggest fan this year, but I think he is a good second runner-up. But John Cena is my pick for Male Wrestler of the Year, Male Superstar of the Year, actually. Next, we go to Female Superstar of the Year. And, when you talk about the top female, it's not expected that she's going to draw the same as the top male wrestler. So that's that criteria is kind of reduced in this category. But in terms of Female Superstar of the Year, there were some good choices. I think it really came down to two. Becky Lynch or Iyo Sky. I thought both of them had a really good year. The thing with Becky is she missed the first third of the year, basically, when she came back at around WrestleMania. So about 3.5 months she was out. And then she did miss other chunks of time throughout the year, actually, near the end. So, Becky did miss some time. And, her promo work was the best. For best female on the mic, it's easily her. She had some good matches. She had a couple really good ones this live. The match at SummerSlam wasn't good. But her catalog this year, in terms of match quality, in terms of promos, really good. She had some good storylines now later with Maxine Dupree. So, but Becky, and the biggest feud she had was with AJ Lee. That was great. And the feud with Nikki, that was definitely her weakest. So not all smooth sailing, but she's the runner-up. Also, I felt like mentioning, as someone who is usually heavily criticized online for the way she's pushed, even though she was the most over woman in the whole company, I thought she had a really good year as kind of a background player, and that's Rhea Ripley, so she's my second runner-up. I thought she had some really great matches, particularly with the woman who's going to win Female Superstar of the Year. But I thought Rhea had a really solid year, an underrated year for her. Some really good matches this year, some good programs, and I kind of like it. I think it was best for her to be out of the title picture for a while. And now, my winner, the official winner for Female Superstar of the Year is Iyo Sky. Tremendous year. This was her true, real breakout year. She was incredible this year, and it's heavily carried by her ability to have great matches, which consistently on Raw, on PLEs, she delivered. She had great matches with so many wrestlers. First, you had she started off really hot. I thought she should have won the Rumble, but she didn't. But then she had a good match with Rhea on Raw. Then she had that amazing match at WrestleMania, which she won, which I thought that was her breakout moment. She was already kind of a star, but I thought that once she went in there with Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair, who were kind of maybe the two top female stars in the whole company, and it was a triple threat match, and she won. She came out on top at WrestleMania. That match elevated her to a different status. She also had a great match with Rhea Ripley at Evolution, which Naomi came in and cashed in. That's what it's most remembered for, but the match was awesome, and she had a good match with Naomi and Iyo at SummerSlam. Also, a great match with Stephanie Vaquer at WrestlePalooza. So Iyo just had great matches, and the thing is also, it's not necessarily she was a great promo, but she has charisma, and that shows because she's able to get the fans to cheer for her despite the English barrier, or despite the language barrier. She doesn't have the best English, but she's able to get the fans to like her because she's a natural babyface. She's easy to root for. She's likable. She's pretty, and I think she's able to connect to the audience this year. And I think, her matches really are definitely her strongest point. So I'm going to go with Iyo as a Female Superstar of the Year. Next, we go to the NXT Male Superstar of the Year. Couple of runner-ups I wanted to mention. Javon Evans, fantastic year. Breakout year for him in NXT. Definitely, I think, has a lot of potential to be a star on the main roster. The second runner-up I was going to mention would be a guy who I thought had an underrated year, and that's Ethan Page. Very good heel this year. Got a lot of heat, and I thought he had a really solid year this year in terms of being one of the top heels on NXT. Wanted to mention him, even though it was more so in the mid-card. However, my winner for NXT Male Superstar of the Year, this is easy. It's Oba Femi. Tremendous year. One of the best years anyone in NXT has had. Won the title at New Year's Evil and held it for almost the entire year until he lost it to Ricky Saints. Then he won it back at Deadline. This really goes without saying. Oba Femi was great this year. Next, we go to the NXT Female Superstar of the Year. And to be honest, it was kind of hard to pick because no one really in NXT, no female I thought had a great year. And Stephanie Vaquer stayed. This was easily going to be her award, but she left like almost, I think in May or something. So, I mean, you missed more than half the year. She can't win. But she's still a runner-up, I thought, because she did so good the first 5 months. She's a runner-up. Another runner-up, I thought someone who had a pretty solid year, actually, all things considered. That's Kalani Jordan. I thought she had a pretty decent year. Not her best in terms of being featured. I think she was maybe more featured the previous year when she was the Women's North American Champion. But I thought she was good as a heel. She had some good work being the TNA Women's Knockout Champion. And I thought she did pretty well. She won the feud with Jordan Grace. And I was thinking of putting one of those two as the second runner-up. I thought since Kalani won the feud, I went with her. Now, my winner for Female Superstar of the Year in NXT is going to be Sol Ruca. Really great year for her, and this was her first major year in terms of now you can see that she's ready for the main roster. And I don't expect her to be in NXT for very long, not much longer. I think her in NXT is going to be, I think it's going to be over probably by the time of WrestleMania. I think she'll probably go to the main roster soon. Great year. Really a breakout year for her. I wouldn't say it's like one of the best years a woman has ever had in NXT because it really doesn't come close to others, but no one really had that incredible of a year. So I think she just kind of won because she was able to really distinguish herself as becoming a star for the main roster on NXT. And I think, she just did really well. She had some good matches and I thought she won it this year. Tag Team of the Year. To me, this is, probably the first time ever whenever I've done this. I haven't done it in a while, these awards, but I think always it's gone to a male tag team. this time it's going to a female one, and that's going to be Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair for my pick for Tag Team of the Year. They kind of want it in a way because they're featured more on SmackDown, and they are entertaining. People like them. Alexa Bliss is super over. But, I mean, none of the tag teams on SmackDown get any time anymore. Wyatt Six, I'm not a fan. I don't like their work anymore. I liked them when they debuted, not a fan. MFT, I think, are awful. Solo Sikoa sucks. Not a fan. Then Motor City Machine Guns did nothing this year. Fraxium really wasn't featured that much. Street Profits haven't been on TV in it feels like 6 months. Am I missing someone? DIY, they were okay, but they really didn't have much time as they really needed. And they did some single stuff later in the year anyways. So, and then on Raw, New Day were fucking abysmal. War Raiders did nothing. Finn and Dom are just awful team. They did nothing, never defended their belts. AJ Styles and Dragon Lee would have probably won if they did more this year, but they really haven't been together that long. So I look at it, in the women's, I thought Liv and Raquel were okay. But I just thought it has to go to Alexa and Charlotte. I thought they had the best year. They were the most entertaining tag team all year. Their matches were okay. They had some decent matches. I liked the SummerSlam match they had. I think it was against Roxanne and Raquel, I believe. And, I thought it was a good year for them. So I'm going to go with them for my tag team of the year. And I thought, Charlotte started off really slow. She started off really bad at the Rumble. And she was getting booed heavily, and the feud with Tiffany Stratton was horrendous. And she had go-away heat with a lot of people. People just didn't want to see her anymore. I think the pairing with Alexa Bliss saved her career, and I think it also says a lot about Alexa Bliss, her ability to get over. She's very likable, probably one of the most likable people on the roster in terms of just having a natural ability to connect with people, because people do like her. And I thought she wasn't featured as much as I thought she would after she had an incredible return at the Rumble, but I thought all things considered, they had a decent year as a tag team, and I thought they were the most compelling and interesting, entertaining tag team in WWE this year. Next, we go to Talker of the Year. It has to go to CM Punk. Great this year. Definitely the best promo was the one on The Rock and John Cena after Elimination Chamber. He calls The Rock a bald fraud. Punk's always great on the mic. I don't think I really need to elaborate too much on this. He won almost going away. John Cena would have won, but I mean, so many of those horrible promos he cut as a heel. That's the only reason he didn't win. But Punk, I thought, has to get it this year. Worker of the Year added this new award, Iyo Sky. She had great matches all year. I wanted to give her another award, to be honest. Great matches all year round. Just in terms of in the ring, nothing else considered. Really good year. Had so many great matches. I enjoyed her work. She's someone I enjoy watching more than almost anyone on TV right now. And in terms of just watching in-ring work, I think she's really great in the ring. Draw of the Year. This really isn't much, there's no way to vote on this award or have a panel choose. We all know who the Draw of the Year of 2025 is. It's John Cena. He wins this easily. Next, we go to Breakout Star of the Year. So there were some options here. I thought you could have gone with some different people. You could have gone with Braun Breaker. I thought he kind of already broke out in 2024, but I wanted to mention him anyways. There's some others you could have chosen. I mean, you could go with like Blake Monroe in NXT. She debuted, but reason I didn't really put her on my best for the female star of the year is, like, I think some of her programs have been a little underwhelming, and I feel like they really haven't used the best with her, and I think they're not using her to her full potential. The Jordan Grace feud to me was just kind of okay. It just kind of ended, and she really wasn't there for most of the year, so that's why she wasn't necessarily on my even my runner-up for best female of the year. But you could say for her, she did debut on NXT, and you can tell she will be a star on the main roster. It's just she wasn't really booked the best this year. But Javon Evans in NXT has to be considered for this. The thing is, it's more, I almost look at this more on the main roster, who was able to break out on the main roster this year. But Javon, he'll probably almost assuredly win this award next year if he's on the main roster. Now, for me, the breakout star of the year officially is Stephanie Vaquer. She really came out as a star this year. She was on the main roster, I think, around the summer. Came in and got over, and I think everyone knows why she's over. The Devil's Kiss is definitely her best feature, but I think she's just able to get over with the crowd, and Had really great matches, particularly with Iyo Sky, just a tremendous match. And people really do like her, and you can tell she's going to be a star here. And I think that was it was almost an easy award to give out because on the main roster, the biggest new star is her, and I think she wins this kind of handily. And again, if it was going to be more focused on NXT, it would be Javon Evans. But for the main roster, which is what I focused this award on, it goes to Stephanie Vaquer. Next, we go to Match of the Year. To me, my favorite match all year, there were some close ones. A close runner-up is Cody Rhodes and John Cena at SummerSlam this year. I loved the match. I just felt like it went on a little bit too long. And they did too much in that match. I think it would have been better if you would have shaved off like 10 minutes. But it was still a great match and a massive improvement from what they did previously at WrestleMania. Another contender, I think, would be the match John Cena had with AJ Styles at Crown Jewel. Absolutely loved that match. Loved it. So entertaining. And it was more so of a match, kind of a spectacle. Them doing all these moves that with wrestlers they feuded with over the years. That was great. And it was a fun match to watch. Probably the most entertaining match in terms of almost like a fun feel-good match. That's what I would describe it as. But my pick officially is Iyo Sky defending her Women's World Championship against Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley in a triple threat match in the main event, not the main event, in the opening match of WrestleMania 41, Night 2. And just having a tremendous triple threat match. I was confusing it with the other triple threat match from Night 1, which I liked that match as well, but that wasn't as good as the women's in my opinion. This match was awesome, incredibly fast-paced. It wasn't too long. It was an easy match to watch. It's a fun match, incredibly entertaining. All three women, you can tell, are really good in the ring. Rhea is great. She's the most over woman in the company. Bianca is really athletic, so strong, and can do so much in the ring, different from others. And Iyo, as I said, I think is the best overall in-ring performer in the company right now. She just has great matches when she has someone who can, when she has a good dance partner, she can put on a great match. And this match was amazing. Iyo Sky won. As I said, her biggest win in her career. This was her breakout match. This was a match that established her as a top female star in the company, in my opinion. Even though she was champ before, she was clearly like the third biggest star by far and away going into this match. I don't think anyone really picked her to win. I don't think she was the big favorite to win, actually. Some people picked her, but I did. But I mean, I was hoping she would. I didn't really know if she would, but that match established her as a big star. And I thought that match, just loved it. Great match. Next, we go to Feud of the Year. So I did not like the CM Punk Seth Rollins feud that much, so I did not win. That's a runner-up. But they did win overall. They're part of the winner. And it's going to be a mixed tag team feud between CM Punk and AJ Lee against Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch. That's my pick for Feud of the Year. AJ making that return was awesome. Love seeing her back with the company. That comeback in SmackDown was a great moment. And I enjoyed her back and forth with Becky, and I liked it. And I thought that match brought a lot of heat, a lot of interest into the company. I thought Becky going in before that on that Raw in Paris and slapping Punk was great. And I thought this was a great mixed tag team feud. Now, the match itself wasn't the greatest. It was a pretty weak match at WrestlePalooza, which I didn't like that show at all anyways. But I just felt like with her return, it did a lot for in terms of the feud, and I thought it was the best part of the feud was when the wives were involved. So I'm not picking Punk and Rollins by themselves. I'm picking CM Punk and his wife AJ Lee against Seth Rollins and his wife Becky Lynch. Storyline of the year: John Cena's retirement tour. Again, it was booked poorly, but this was easily the most compelling, interesting, talked about storyline all year. Come on, nothing really comes close. The John Cena retirement tour is a storyline of the year. Moment of the year: John Cena turns heel. Crazy moment. Again, the heel turn itself was great. How it was done was great. It was incredibly memorable, and it was a shattering moment in terms of news coverage. You never see wrestling get that amount of news coverage. Everyone was talking about, not just ESPN, it was getting news coverage in general. Everyone was talking about John Cena going bad. It got a tremendous amount of attention for WWE. Everyone was talking. It was one of the biggest moments in the history of wrestling in modern years in terms of like an earth-shaking moment, like an earthquake type of moment for the wrestling world. And that was John Cena's heel turn. His heel run was awful. That's why I'm not including it. I'm just talking about the heel turn on March 1st, 2025 in Toronto in the old Sky Dome, now the Rogers Center. His heel turn, that's the moment of the year. TV show of the year, I went with Raw. I thought Raw was easily WWE's best outing of the major three. it was by far and away the best. It wasn't like the best Raw ever. It wasn't their best year for Raw. But I thought of the three, Raw was easily the most watchable. It kind of won almost on default. The other two were really bad, I thought, this year. So Raw just kind of won it. PLE of the year, Elimination Chamber. This one won. There were some runner-ups I wanted to mention. I thought Evolution was really good this year. I thought it was actually a great Evolution. Probably even better than the first one, which was also really good. That was back in 2018. Evolution was great this year, and I just thought, it just came in second. It was one of WWE's better shows, easily. Another one I thought about mentioning was Crown Jewel, which I thought was easily by far and away the best Crown Jewel of all time. That was actually a good show, an underrated show, a really hot crowd in Australia, and I enjoyed it. Those are some runner-ups. And now, officially, the winner of this award is Elimination Chamber. That should come as no surprise. This was by far, in a way, the most talked about show that's not like WrestleMania, because of what happened with John Cena's heel turn. But we've already talked about the heel turn. It was great that night. Rock pulls out. I mean, we all know what happens. And with Travis Scott, turned into a fiasco. But just that heel turn, then you add on the men's elimination chamber, which I thought was great. The women's elimination chamber, which I thought was the best women's elimination chamber of all time, easily. So I thought both chambers were excellent. Then I thought Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn had a tremendous matchup. And the tag match of Tiffany and Trish teaming up against Nia, and I think it was it Candice? I'm not sure. That wasn't that good. That was the 1 week match. I mean, everything else was just so great, and just ended on such a memorable moment. So that has to win for 2025 best PLE of the year, Elimination Chamber. Up next, my next award is going to be the promo of the year. I'm going to go with John Cena's pipe bomb. A close second is CM Punk's promo on The Rock and John Cena the night after Cena turned heel, or 2 nights after he turned heel on Raw, which was great. But the promo, to me, the pipe bomb on SmackDown, Cena tearing into Punk, giving him a taste of his own medicine, getting revenge for 2011 after what Punk said about him. That was my favorite promo of the year, and I thought John Cena was great there. Announcer of the year, I like Corey Graves this year. I thought he did good, but I thought Wade Barrett had the best year in terms of the best on the announcer. Vic Joseph had a good year. I just think Booker T kind of drags him down a bit because he can be so over the top. But my favorite announcer this year was Wade Barrett. Return of the year, AJ Lee. People have been talking about her returning for 10 years, and 10 years later, it finally happens in 2025. She left after WrestleMania 31 in 2015. More than 10 years, almost 10 and a half years later, she's back on an episode of SmackDown, aligning with her husband, CM Punk. Incredible return. So happy to see her. It was a nice moment. She was someone I really didn't think would come back, not necessarily because she had all this heat with the company. When Punk came back, the door was open when he came back. But the thing is, she had a lot of issues, in particular mental health issues, and I know she was open about it in her book, and she had problems with the company not relating to her husband. So I was not expecting her to ever really return. And when she came back, it was a great moment and not something you expect to see. Pop of the year. Now, I went with this. This was someone who I thought had the best reaction for a particular return, entrance, promo, whatever. I thought the loudest pop and the pop I enjoyed the most hearing it because I was really happy to see her get this recognition from the fans, and that was Alexa Bliss returning at the Royal Rumble this year. She got just a tremendous ovation, a tremendous pop. I was genuinely not expecting to see her because it got out earlier in the week that she had a falling out with WWE. There was some sort of contract dispute in which I think she wanted a new contract. WWE wanted her on her old contract, and she was freezed because she was pregnant. She's been gone from television for 2 years. Last time she wrestled before the Rumble was actually at the Rumble in 2023 in a match against Bianca Belair. So she has been off TV for 2 full years. Really, I don't think she made a single appearance in that whole time frame. And she got married before that. Then she got pregnant. That's why she was off TV. And then, the next year she's on maternity leave, being a mother. And I didn't really think, maybe we're not going to see her anymore. Maybe she's moved on from wrestling. She has a new life now. She's a mother. Maybe she doesn't want to, be on TV every week. And she has other things now to worry about. Maybe she's not coming back. And I thought, she's probably not coming back for the Rumble. When I heard she ended up falling out with the company, but she did, and it was a great moment. I was not expecting it. I genuinely popped when I heard it, and everyone else popped with me because It was a tremendous ovation. Fans went crazy. And it was a really nice, wholesome moment seeing Alexa Bliss return to the WWE after 2 years. Best theme song, I went with John Cena's theme song. You can go with other theme songs. I felt like this year we really didn't get any new theme songs, to be honest. I thought the close runner-up would be Becky Lynch's new song, which was great. I thought it was definitely needed. She had that old Celtic Invasion song for too long, but her new song is good. She was a runner-up. Cody's song's always good, Kingdom. But I thought the best song this year, best theme song, has to go with John Cena. Last Time Is Now. It really was, and hearing that again for the last time, really, at least as him, hearing it for him as an active performer, it definitely meant a lot more. So he wins best theme song. Best catchphrase. It's not just me saying it. Becky Lynch won this easily, hands down, this year. She was really entertaining. It's not just me saying it. It's Sports Illustrated saying it. She's really good at that. She's very entertaining this year. She added that to her. She made that one of her her major catchphrases now. That's what she's almost known for, and I thought she did really good with that, and she won that award easily. Best finisher. This was easy as well. Spear, Braun Breaker Spear wins it easily. Crazy Spears. Definitely the most memorable one was the one on Carlito on Raw when he almost killed him with that spear. That was great, but he won that, and I thought it was almost running away. Nothing really came close to it. Headline, this isn't really an award, it's just the top headline and acknowledgement. R.I.P. Hulk Hogan, 1953 to 2025, the death of Hulk Hogan wins it this year. This was by far and away the biggest wrestling story. I mean, people can talk about stories within wrestling like John Cena's retirement, which was a big story, and other things that happened. Maybe The Rock not showing up for WrestleMania, that was definitely a story. But come on, the biggest story this year is the death of the biggest star in the history of wrestling, Hulk Hogan. Nothing really comes close to that in terms of headlines. Talking about the biggest star of all time, the biggest star in the history of wrestling and the wrestling business dying, and that obviously doesn't happen every year, and that was easily the top headline. Now we go to worst male wrestler of the year. Now we're in the worst of categories, and this is Jey Uso. Can't wait to give him this award. He sucks. Jey Uso sucks. He made wrestling unwatchable. He made WWE unwatchable for large parts of the year this year. He was awful this year. He wins this award. He sucks. A close second, a runner-up, is his brother, Solo Sikoa, who is fucking abysmal as well. So Rikishi having two of the worst, his sons who won the two worst wrestlers in the company this year. Maybe he can go complain about something else. He can go complain about Triple H's booking while his two sons are sticking it up in the ring every fucking week. These guys suck. Anyway, Jey Uso wins worst male wrestler of the year. Worst female wrestler of the year. This is going because I'm giving her this award because of the push she's getting. That's Jacy Jayne. Never deserved a push. I thought she hurt NXT. I thought Shawn Michaels made NXT unwatchable some parts of this year with his unforeseen infatuation for this woman, for Jacy Jayne. I don't know what Shawn Michaels sees in her. I don't see her as a star. She doesn't look like a star to me. When she comes on the main roster, she'll be a jobber. She'll be nothing. She'll probably be released in a year after she comes up. She's not going anywhere, man. I don't see her as a star at all. I don't know why Shawn Michaels pushes her, and I think it's incompetence on his part to push her as a top female star when you have Blake Monroe on your roster. You push Jacy Jayne when you have Blake Monroe on your roster. Mariah May, she used to be. She is so much more talented, so much more entertaining, so much more potential to be a star on the main roster, and he fucking puts the belt on Jacy Jayne for most of the fucking year. You also have Sol Ruca on your roster. You also have Jada Parker on your roster, who he never uses. Maybe she's coming up, but still. He has Kalani Jordan, who he decides to push Jacy Jayne over. He has so many talented women on that roster. And, it wasn't just when they lost Julia, then they lost Stephanie Vaquer, and before that they lost Roxanne Perez. But it feels like Shawn Michaels wants to push Jacy Jayne like she's Roxanne Perez. And she's just been awful this year. There's so many women who are better than her. Jordan Grace, she barely got used this year in some parts, especially later in the year. So many of them are so much better than her, and he just wants to push her as the top female star. He really hurt NXT this year, and Jacy Jayne's easily, it's more so a reflection on her push. She wins this award. Next, I go to the worst tag team / stable of the year. I usually do the faction / stable of the year. I couldn't do it this year. I didn't really enjoy anyone. I couldn't give it to anyone, but Worst is so obviously going to be the MFT. These guys fucking suck. They suck. Just awful. MFT sucks. There's people in the faction I like. I like Tama Tonga. I like JC Mattel, but they never use him right. But all the other guys, Solo Sikoa was fucking abysmal. Tonga Loa was one of the worst wrestlers in the world. And Tala Tonga is just such an unintimidating big man. It's weird. MFT is by far and away the worst stable. And make things worse when they start adding the Sting face paint, because it makes it worse. They're awful. Nepotism Award. I give this award simply for someone who is getting their push, getting featured for their family. That's the only reason. This goes to Ava of NXT, the worst part of NXT. She's awful. She sucks. She's just getting pushed. She's getting promoted. She's getting featured on television because of who her father is. If her father was anybody else, and that even includes top guys in the WWE, if her father was anyone besides Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, no one would ever dare put her on television. She is awful. She's the worst GM ever. She is killing NXT. She makes it unwatchable. Her segments are just so soulless, so lifeless. She has no fucking charisma. She's awful. She delivers her lines like she doesn't even care. Like there's no enthusiasm in her fucking voice. Ava sucks. She wins the Nepotism Award. Worst feud of the year goes to Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair. Oh, this feud sucked. I thought it was a bad year for Tiffany, to be honest. I don't think she really recovered from this feud. Just a bad year. And this feud was awful, man. Just all the stuff that happened on the SmackDown in Chicago, the infamous line where Tiffany says you're 0-3, and it's just such a disaster. And Charlotte before that, she wouldn't let Tiffany talk. I think on the Raw or the SmackDown before, they were doing that that split screen promo, and she wouldn't let Tiffany talk, and then the disaster in Chicago, and then the match at WrestleMania, which was not good. Just it was an awful feud. This whole thing was a disaster. Afterwards, Charlotte recovered actually because she got paired with Alexa Bliss, who I thought saved her career because Charlotte had go away heat with a lot of the fans. I thought Alexa saved her career, so Charlotte owes Alexa Bliss for that. Tiffany Stratton, I don't think really recovered. She wrestled Nia Jax a million times. Then she wrestled Jade a whole bunch of times. They wouldn't do the title change until they finally did, and I thought it was almost too late. Tiffany, I didn't think really recovered from this feud, to be honest. But this was by far away the worst feud of the year. Worst segment of the year. This wins by a fucking landslide. I can't wait for this. I don't even usually... in my previous years that I've done these awards, I don't think I ever gave out this award, but I almost had to create this award because I had to give this segment I had to lambast it. I had to show you how fucking bad it was, and that's The Rock's return to SmackDown in New Orleans when he announces WrestleMania 42 in New Orleans. And I think a month or two later, WWE pulls it and moves it back to Las Vegas. That's all bullshit, but the stuff with Cody, the Soul, it was so bad, so awkward. Him like touching Cody's face, which was just looks so strange. It sucked. This was awful. It was one of the worst things. It went on for a fucking eternity. Rock swears. He like yells at the crowd every single second. It's just, it was awful. And he goes in and out of the final boss to the Rock to the corporate board member Dwayne, and then his return on Raw sucked too. On the Raw debut on Netflix, that was bad. And then this one on NXT was a disaster the night after on the New Year's Evil show and also in Los Angeles. I mean, the guy is just awful this year, the stuff he did, but the worst segment is that's the disaster in New Orleans, which is the worst SmackDown of the year, by the way, still, is that SmackDown in New Orleans. Worst match of the year goes to the main event of WrestleMania on night 2. Cody Rhodes defending the undisputed WWE Championship against John Cena. We know why this match sucked. Before the Travis Scott stuff, even before that, the match wasn't good. But that stuff, man, it just made it a disaster. It took like a car accident and made it a train wreck, to be honest. To use those blunt terms, those morbid terms, I apologize, but that's all I can really think of. It made something bad to something just atrocious. Oh my god, yeah. Worst TV show of the year is SmackDown. NXT was bad. NXT sucked this year, but SmackDown, when it was 3 hours, there were moments where it was just unwatchable. Then later in the year, even when they went back to 2, the show was still bad, and sometimes it got even worse. They just wouldn't care. It was so obvious SmackDown was pushed to the back burner because Raw went on Netflix this year, and that was the most disappointing part of SmackDown for this year. It wins the worst show of the year in 2025. Worst PLE this year, WrestlePalooza. Yeah, horrible show. This show sucked. Brock Lesnar and John Cena was fucking atrocious. It would have won the worst match of the year if not for Cody and Cena. But I mean, the stuff with Travis Scott is so fucking offensive. But it starts off with a match no one wants, with Brock Lesnar squashing John Cena. No one wanted to see that result. And then the CM Punk and AJ Lee return match. AJ Lee's return, a match with Becky, and match against Becky and Seth. Match was not good. Main event with Cody and Drew was awful. Just nothing main event. It was like a TV show main event. Nothing happened. Cody just won. And then the one match, the one saving grace was obviously Stephanie Vaquer and Iyo Sky, who had a tremendous match. Also, the Usos stunk up them joint too, so another shit match for Jay this year. The Usos had a boring tag match. WrestlePalooza was the worst show easily. It was WWE's debut on ESPN, and just like their debut on Netflix for Raw, also underwhelming. Both of them underwhelming shows. I did not like the Netflix debut for Raw. I thought that show was boring. Just not really boring. Just nothing really happened. Just nothing really good on that show. I did not like that show at all, and I hated WrestlePalooza. So both WWE's big debuts, the debut on Netflix and then the debut on ESPN, were underwhelming for me. Worst storyline of the year, John Cena's heel run. So I mentioned John Cena's heel turn as the moment of the year. The heel run itself, worst storyline of the year, easily has to win it because of how bad it was and how it really hurt the show, because it kind of trickled down onto the rest of the product and it was not good. Finally, we have the worst moment of the year. What else could it be other than Travis Scott interfering in a main event of WrestleMania, Cody Rhodes and John Cena? Travis Scott taking an hour and a half to walk to the fucking ring. He sucks. This sucked. I mean, him just coming out there without The Rock, that made it even worse. The fact that he showed up and not The Rock, I fully expected his music hits and then The Rock's going to come out. Travis is going to stay on the stage and Rock and Travis come out together. No. Oh my God, this sucked. This is such a disaster. Such a horrible moment. And that's probably the worst moment of the year. So that wins worst moment of the year. And overall, in 2025, I just felt with WWE, they had a lackluster year in terms of creative. Yes, their business was fantastic. It was the best business they ever did. But I thought the creative was lackluster. And the John Cena retirement tour I thought was underwhelming. And I did have that as my official photo. It's thank you, John, from the Saturday Night's Main Event. So wanted to feature that. It was John Cena's last year. He won a lot of the awards, most of the major awards actually he took home. So once again, thank you, John. Thank you, Cena. Go. Till next time we see him on TV, which won't be in the jorts, by the way. He won't be in his ring gear. We'll see him just in a suit and tie. So hopefully it's a Hall of Fame. Hopefully we get to see him in the Hall of Fame. But that was it. That was the year. Disappointing year, but it is what it is. Hopefully 2026 is better than 2025. And as I said at the beginning of the video, by the time most of you hear this, it will now be 2026. So once again, Happy New Year!